All right. All right, going to get started. Cool. Following up immediately from Tuesday. As you can see, we're still in that, pretty much area that we had mentioned before. But when we had zoomed in, we were pretty much trying to see what would happen. I believe price was right here at the time of the zoom. And I told you that I wanted to see what would happen based on the reaction of this POI. Right, and just to make long story short, right, the bounce from the POI was valid in terms of the POI in and of itself, right? The bounce itself was valid, the reaction was valid, but the counter reaction, which was obviously the H1 inefficiency that happened right around market open, that was what pretty much, gave you that continuation to the downside. But keep in mind, right, this is actually the first time we're seeing, a true break of structure here. Let me actually delete this, right? Because obviously we're going up, right? The last time I see a solidified point, right, was here, meaning if you want to make this your low, right, this would not make it the high. This is the preliminary structure break that solidifies the range, meaning you're still bullish. So this coming into, right, obviously this is now a solidified point, which is what makes this the invalidation for this being a potential internal unwillingness. So once we see this break, we see the momentum shift, but it's kind of hard to justify selling anything that is this bullish, right? Even if you make the case up here, even if you make the case for the internal breaks of structure, the minor intraday stuff, I want to keep this in mind. I want to keep this in mind, right? So let's go to M30. So now when I am trying to pretty much find some type of bias, right, I know, right, that the pullback was very, very, how do I put this, minimal. I believe it was an H4, right? Even on H4, you don't really see much, right? But what I'm referencing here is a potential structure tap, which is what is currently taking price higher. So as of now, just looking at this from a swing leg perspective, that's actually right. I am seeing, right, this being the last time we saw a reaction to the downside up until here, right? This is the first time we see a strong break of structure that pretty much begins the pullback, and we are currently in a low high retracement continuation. So we should be expecting our previous high to be taken out, right? Personally, I didn't see anything this morning, right? When we're looking at the reactions, right, this happened around 6:30. This happened right around session, I believe, yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday, the 10th. And today we actually saw a later New York move, a later London move, right? Where if you were to take a scenario, right, you could see a 30-minute candle of interest, right, that pretty much supports the overall bias, right? But as of now, we are at a potential breaking point. Right, not saying this is something I would like to come in and sell, but this is something to pretty much know and see how it will react, because for all we know, this could just literally become unwillingness, but I highly doubt that. I really want to see this clear highs, and if we are going to reverse based on a weekly time frame, right, I'd like to see that high be taken out. I'd like to see a liquidity grab, right, something major to show us its hand if it is going to reverse, right? If not, I would just study the range itself and see how we will pretty much, how we will react, right, to get that continuation. So as of now, medium term, we are bullish, right? From a longer term, we are still technically bullish, right? Just because of what we had mentioned last week. So although we are coming into a POI from a weekly time frame, I do want to, you know, pretty much reassure you that we are still bullish on majority of all time frames, or structural levels, I'm sorry. But yeah, as of now, the narrative is clearly to the upside, which is pretty much what is continuing to bring EU down, right? Because today, I had an unfortunate scenario here where I actually wanted the M30 inefficiency to be met, and as you can see, I even had my alert here, right? But unfortunately, that alert, right, barely missed price right there, unfortunately. So yeah, I just unfortunately didn't get into that. Even today, this morning, right, yeah, I believe it was right here. Right, I'm always looking for that fulfillment or that 50%, just because I want the probability of the trade to actually happen, right, to be high probable. So I obviously wanted, obviously the continuation, right? This, right, once I had noticed on this M15 that what this pretty much bounce here had really meant was the inefficiency fill on the 15-minute time frame. So that's why I was pretty much assuming, right, that we would come into inefficiency and create a new low, obviously, with our target being previous low as a TP1, which is already about 50-60 pips away. So unfortunately, right, just didn't get it. I didn't even get the M5 inefficiency that you can see. So yeah, just unfortunate. That would have been a solid move for the week, right, which would have been based on obviously the bullish narrative on DXY. Then obviously today the bearish narrative was created based on, right, false flag into a liquidity grab that automatically makes the narrative bearish. It was just a matter of when. So the only reason why this became appealing, right, was not only this bounce here, but the internal reaction, which pretty much, just looking at this from a second perspective, this would be an internal, you could even say that, liquidity grab, right? So the internal liquidity grab in support of the narrative based on the other liquidity grab, that's pretty much what justified this entire area to continuation, but unfortunately you just didn't get it. This one, AU, I personally didn't trade just because today I was looking at this, but from a narrative perspective, right, we were mentioning that we had wanted, right, the bounce into the daily POI. Right, the daily POI, you did not get that, and instead you got the invalidation being met. I believe it was Wednesday. Oh, sorry, I believe that was Wednesday. Yes, it was Wednesday. That was pretty much catapulted price, right, into, right, almost a discount, or almost a premium, I'm sorry, right, borderline premium. But if you would have been trading, right, in between 1 a.m., which is obviously London, and Asia session, you would have potentially gotten a transition here, just because there is, I believe, an M15 break of structure, where you could see the preliminary structure being taken there, even more preliminary structure being taken there, but the overall was only challenged, right? But you can see clean order flow there around London. But unfortunately I didn't see this. All right, it was even hard to judge a POI, just in this range here, right? Like, I believe there was inefficiency left behind, but there was no candle of interest. Yeah, there was really no candle of interest, so it was harder to justify anything down here, just from my POV. But today, I did notice, right, that we had been ranging up, and then we had pretty much borderline a liquidity clearance here, and that is pretty much driving price lower, which is exactly where we should be, coming back lower. I don't see why this isn't an element of showing its hand, and I don't see why we don't continue lower. We should be clearing out this liquidity, right, especially because the narrative here, right, technically is bearish. We did take out our our previous high here into the, the making that a bullish liquidity grab, right? But the zone that we had pretty much noticed, I believe it was last week, right? And once we start to examine the internal price action based on that, you see, right, the preliminary break of structure. So that preliminary break of structure causes a potential liquidity grab in place, right? And here technically would be guessing, if you're looking at it from a linear stance, right, low high continuation, but externally we do see this, and now that we have seen this, right, this seems a lot more probable to at least meet here, which is the TP1. So I do see this coming back down here, especially because we do see potential relative equal lows here as well. And as for the POI in and of itself, I don't see why we don't reach it, but as for getting a reaction of it, I can't say just yet. And up until then is when we'll see whether we are going to give, a super long term, when we're going to give a super long term bullish scenario, or if all of this is really just a pullback, right? Because keep in mind the momentum is still down, right? But this is the only thing that's pretty much coughing up or giving us, a slightly different potential outlook. But yeah, but as of now, right, if this low breaks and it's price is kept below it, then I don't see why we don't start chasing previous lows. All right, so that would be interesting, just because, for example, this is 200 pips away, this is 300 pips away. So yeah, these are going to be very, very big moves, not in terms of swings, but just having the bias so you can take those intraday legs to the downside. Excuse me. But other than that, it's been a pretty iffy week when we look at this weekly. Pretty iffy. But it looks like, right, we might still be continuing higher. Yeah, and let's actually, let me check something out. If you want to look at this from, right, a perspective of drives, right, we're still seeing potential movement to the upside, right? This here is just a continuation BOS, just because up until then every lower high had been accounted for. So this continuation BOS, right, means that we're just in the pullback. We get one drive, right? That drive does not take out previous structure, meaning order flow is still to the upside. And just to counter that, right, what are we seeing here? Continuation BOS, right? We still have our bullish momentum continuation BOS, right? This is only pretty much a pullback of the overall leg wherever the low is into the high retracement continuation, right? This unfortunately didn't test highs, but it came into highs, which, obviously after that did not take out previous structure, meaning technically you are still bullish, unless you get a UTAD, right, in the transition. So this is going to be very important. I am seeing that even though we are here, if we don't get the proper reaction, we should be challenging highs here. But yeah, let's see how this evens out over, pretty much the next week. Just because, as we said, we challenged highs, we didn't go all the way though. We didn't actually challenge the highs as you would have there. But that inevitably led to not taking out a previous low, which is exactly what it did, right? So we should be seeing, right, hopefully something into the upside. So should be interesting to see. Definitely something we'll see over the next quarter. Quarter one is about to close in about 3 weeks. Yeah, and that's super bullish. Super bullish, yeah. So yeah, I mean, gonna be very interesting to see. after we clear those highs, and that's gonna be very interesting. Yeah, but does anyone have any questions? Let me see who's on the call today. Does anybody have anything they want to show today? Yeah, man, go ahead. Cool. Let me oops. There we go. Now you can annotate and we can talk. Also, issue number one, we've brought this issue up hundreds of times at this point. Why is the only chart that you're showing me M1? Why is the only chart that you're showing me M1? That's automatic issue number one. I don't know where you're deriving this bias. I don't know why this idea makes sense. I don't know where your thought process is. All I see is your entry. Because just looking at entries, I mean, I don't know why you're entering here. I don't know if that's maybe just the timing of when you were at, but your SL should be here, right? And this, I believe that would be a M3 candle just based on where you're taking it. And this one is okay, but it's not enough data for me to do anything with it. Like, cool, yeah, I can see a POI, but okay, cool. So what are we seeing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So on the screenshot with the lower time frame, and I'll quickly. So my kind of basis for entry was that we had the scalp range and we had the retracement, and it looked pretty corrective. So my entry was based on the liquidity. It didn't exactly break, but sometimes uh I would enter if I see liquidity, because I do see that it doesn't always break for it to kind of transition. But if there's liquidity present, that's similar to breaking. But then I took a market execution where I did, and then price. So my invalidation point was, if you look at the lower time frame, is that blue one there. But then I closed after it.
Why
So
is this your invalidation?
because I thought we had the liquidity here, and then this tapped the POI to the left.
And what are the three things that can happen in a POI?
Oh, open 50 M.
Exactly, yeah. So you always want to account for this too. Right, and I obviously in this scenario spread might have taken you out. So I would just leave the invalidation as is. The invalidation isn't necessarily based on this, it's based on this.
Okay.
Yeah, so just look a little left and I would just leave the invalidation there. What is that gonna do? Add another pip?
Yeah, yeah,
2
which
pips.
isn't bad.
Right. The RR isn't worth it if you aren't winning the trade. Yeah, so just, I mean, that's fine. I see what you're saying now. I see what you're saying.
All right, thank you.
But just try not to get too caught up here, right? The reason why I asked for this, right, and this is still, in my opinion, not enough. This, like, where is this being derived from? What does this mean?
Oh, okay.
Right, I get this, but what does this mean?
Yeah.
Like, what is this derived from? I don't know what these lines. I don't know what this line is. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Like, I can pretty much guess what you're thinking, but I'm more so saying it for the people on the call.
Okay, alright.
You gotta show me the whole thing. You know what I mean? So you can see how you built your case, and then how that case led to this.
Okay, yeah, I'll prepare that for next time if I do.
Yeah. Because what is this? Like, you don't have a screenshot of this? What this orange line means?
That one would be a liquidity grab.
Yeah, but you see, like, where is that coming from?
Oh, okay, yeah, so the higher time frame. But yeah, I get what you mean. Thank you.
Yeah, so liquidity grab, right? This is what solidifies, right? The entries, and this is just order flow continuation. This is a major liquidity point. This should be a major TP1 spot. Some type of partial there at least, because as you can see, there was a reaction here.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah, no issues with the entry in and of itself. Just next time, just show me how you're building your case, because how you build your case is what leads into this, and that's the important part.
Okay.
Right, two most important parts are building the case and then the execution itself.
All right.
But yeah, well done. That's nice. That's nice. I like that. Cool. Does anybody have anything else they want to bring up? But yeah, that was good. That was good. Does anybody else have anything else they want to show? How about you touch this week when being listening today though? I mean, can you show me?
Hello.
Yes. Actually, you want to do that? Go ahead.
Yeah, can I share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Mm. Can you see my screen?
Okay.
Can you see my screen, Philip?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I bought EV toys, one here and one here, and I closed like the one that wasn't on break, that didn't hit break even. I closed at this daily fill. So basically, I derived my buys from yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So we came
Inefficiency.
into this daily inefficiency, and then on the 1 hour, like this was the whole leg on major intraday. This was the whole leg, but this break initiated the pullback, and I was like still concerned that we might go lower because like what I've seen in the past week was that see like this was a liquidity grab, but it was only confirmed after we broke this low. But like there were many entries that I could have got inside if I studied reaction medium. So basically, I saw this pullback and yeah, saw this pullback, and so I saw this pullback which broke this. I saw this leg which broke this low, which was pullback initiation. So here we had a liquidity grab which was confirmed after this high was broken, and internal liquidity grab per se, and another one here, and yes, and there was this order flow continuation here. So I bought EU first here, which was like eventually broken even, but I wasn't like.
I don't know why you're buying there though.
Because I was like,
look, zoom out.
Was,
I'm gonna make this real simple. Zoom out. No, show me that range like on M30. H4 won't show me anything. Yeah. It makes sense from an order flow perspective, but from just building the case, I mean, looking at this, let me see. It depends how aggressive you wish to be too, right? So the issue, where was your buy? Was it here?
It was right here, so I was looking to take out this high and this high, because this high failed to
so this automatically I wouldn't trade, because you're already trading in the equilibrium, right? You want to catch the move either here, right? Because oh, I'm sorry, here. Let me delete that. It would be here because that already showed its hand, and that would technically be a sign of unwillingness here, because technically this is a continuation BOS. So this is just the order flow continuing downside, low, high, high, low, high, low, high, low. Once that breaks, right, that's a sign of unwillingness, a sign of strength into the upside. So the only thing that makes sense is this, right? But technically, let's look at that's the aggressive sense. I'm seeing highs, lower highs, right? Continuation BOS, but high was not broken. Once the high was broken, right, if you were to wait for that, then you have true showing of its hand, right? And you can see the bounce here.
Yes, and I bought
but we get too caught up. Listen. We get too caught up trying to play M1 here, M1 here, M1 here. You're trying to catch this, and you don't consider the pullback. You get stopped out, and then you get the move because you chase the scalp entries. You don't focus on direction. You don't focus on actual premium discount from a higher time frame, not this. All right, so that automatically disproves here that I would never buy. It does not make sense. Right, one, you still have a structure point, so you're assuming that it's going to break structure, which is something you shouldn't do. Whereas here, the narrative has been dictated, so all I'm doing is following order flow based on the narrative that has been dictated. You see what I mean? It's a big difference. So you're trying to trade price, not a model. You see what I mean? Because this kind of solidifies a liquidity grab, but that's kind of stretching it, right? But the momentum gives it all, bro. So you're attempting to trade price, not model. What is your model?
So basically, I trade liquidity grab, and the second entry I took was here. Like,
okay, so you're trading liquidity grab. So what was that? What was this trade? Where is the liquidity grab? You see what I mean? You see what I mean? You see what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to get on your ass, but I'm just, you know, I'm trying to make sense out of it, bro. Like, you're trading liquidity grabs. Where is the liquidity grab, right? Whereas, okay, I'm gonna use your words against you now. You said you trade liquidity grabs. Okay, why is this not a liquidity grab? And then why are you not trying to trade here? You see what I mean? After the liquidity grab, you see what I mean? But yeah, I do see what you mean though here with liquidity grab. But yes, this is a continuation BOS. I would consider that continuation BOS because where's your momentum? Right, we try too hard to fight and we try too much for that reversal that it messes us up at the end. Right, like I'll just go back to the first thing you said. Go back up to that other example. I don't remember exactly what you said. Just move your screen. Just move price. It was
right.
it was like it was right here. I'm just like, why are you focused on the buys here?
No, I wasn't focused
Oh,
on
you were
buys.
focused on the sells there.
I didn't trade here because I was like bit I was kind of conflicted because like we technically we had a liquidity grab here and we were like we were in a discount to sell like so like but like while I was back testing the during the weekend I saw great transitions here, so I was like there are times where price when we are bearish high time frame trend and we take out liquidity and we just melt. So
Yeah.
that's
So
why
this is what's important here. This is important. If you can note that every single time, it'll keep you noted where your original direction is. That little arrow, it makes all the difference. This arrow makes all the difference. Right? Because this keeps you in continuation mindset, not reversal mindset. Okay, yeah, so with the other example, I would just be aware or weary that this is just continuation BOS to begin with, because technically this would be order flow, and that would be your conservative trade, because this is technically a turbulence point that created a final move to the downside. So bearish order flow is intact, right? And if you are to take a trade, it has to be in the conversion here or in the conversion here, right? Not here, because you're already chasing the trade there. It's already happened when it's already there, right? You want to catch these, not this, because then you get caught in the pullback and then the move happens. You want to catch the transition, not the continuation already that's already happened. It will work sometimes, don't get me wrong, it will work sometimes. But I mean, you could see here liquidity's taken. Why? Because technically you are still bearish up until that's taken out, based on solidified points theory, just externally. Internally, you could have guessed it here, but it's a bit trickier, right? Security, right, lowers the lower you go. But yeah, does that answer your questions?
Yes.
All right, so next time, try not to, chase the trade, right? If you're looking at lower to high, that is equilibrium. And if you're trading a model, wait until the model actually shows itself, because all you're doing then is a continuation, right? And will that change your times of trading? Maybe, who knows, right? Because sometimes in London, or I mean in New York, the move will happen, right? And then right after New York, the continuation will happen. So yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, cool. I hope that answers your questions. That's bullish move. That move being weak. Which one? Which one did you see as a reversal BOS?
Oh, anything on this screen. I kind of saw it like this and that, so I thought that would have been a reversal.
It could have been, yeah, in terms of internally.
Yeah.
Like this is your, for example, that would have been your minor intraday push, and obviously that would count, but you're still disregarding. You're disregarding the continuation period. You can't disregard the continuation.
Okay.
Right, like I said, get out of that reversal mindset until it's actually showing its hand.
Yeah.
Because if you try to catch these in here, yeah, it'll look pretty here and there, but the consistency with them won't be high. Because look at how many, like, if you would have moved the break even, you would have been screwed.
So for this situation, when would we have, when would the reversal been confirmed here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have thought that, yeah. Because there's plenty of factors. It's not just structure, it's speed as well.
Yeah.
Right, the speed signifies to me strong bullish, bearish order flow, I'm sorry. Right, so it's until that bearish order flow slows down and converts.
Okay.
Once that converts, then you get the continuation.
Got it. Got it. Thank you.
Right, so it's just a matter of letting the move manifest itself. And trying not, because this is, I do see what you see here. I do see what you see here, but what my issue is just why are you fighting momentum? That's just my 100% issue. But yeah, no, I definitely do see why you say that there. But if you're trying to trade that as well, I mean, realistically, if you're trading that liquidity grab, your invalidation is down here. And are you going to take a trade with a 40 pip stop there? I mean, probably not, but your invalidation is here if you are trying to trade that. Your order flow invalidation, structural would be obviously down there. But yeah, you know, it just depends which route you want to take, and you got to make sure you get your stuff straight. Because, for example, that's just on H1. I'm pretty sure M15 you can find a better invalidation.
Yes, and like I took my second bias here because like you were right, because I saw this as a clear break of structure. So
yeah,
the
so that
second
makes a
buy
lot
made
more sense, yeah. And it's based on
yeah,
this order flow, right?
Yes, so it
Yeah.
made much more sense.
That makes a lot more sense because you already let the move show its hand.
Right here.
Let's see. Nice. So you did trade the liquidity grab there. Nice.
Yes, I took my buy right.
Nice. And was your SL aggressive
Yeah,
here or here?
I used to put like below this wick, but as of now I put my SL right here.
Okay,
I
yeah.
mean,
That's probably the SL I would have taken there, yeah. This one.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. What is that, like a
I
like a 6-7
I seriously
pip?
don't know how.
That's like a 6-7 pip?
Yeah, the SL.
Yeah. 5.
It was around. I basically made it like 5, including
Yeah, that's
everything.
good. That's good. With all the volatility going around, that's not bad at all. And that's easily what, almost 100 pips, 80 pips.
Yeah, like in total, it was like 16 or like after taking profits and everything.
That's
And
good.
I got out right here.
That's good.
At the,
And that's a good TP because you did acknowledge that you are bearish.
Yes.
Cool. That's good. That's good. But yeah, next week should probably be bearish continuation. But yeah, thank you guys for bringing that up for sure. I'm pretty sure somebody will benefit from that for sure. But yeah, does anybody else have any more comments? But yeah, that was a good little talk there. I appreciate that. And also some good examples. But yeah, does anybody else have any more questions, or we could just end that off here? Yeah, man, for sure. Thank you guys for showing me the little studies. Looks good. Looks good. They were all reasonable. Yeah, man, you guys have a great weekend, and we'll talk on Tuesday.